The painting at the Cestello church was commissioned by Benedetto Guardi, a banker, whose family crest appears in the predella, on either side of the Christ in Pieta. After various vicissitudes, the work reached the Uffizi Gallery in 1872. This Annunciation is part of Botticelli's later production. At the time of his religious crisis, linked to the preaching of Girolamo Savonarola, who played a major role in the expulsion of the Medici from Florence and the establishment of the Republic in 1494. The Dominican friar's sermons and prophecies deeply impressed the artist, who for years had been the leading interpreter of the refined Neoplatonic culture promoted by the Medici circle. In the austere setting of the painting, the figures of the Virgin and the Angel are animated by a spiritual tension and drama, absent in Botticelli's earlier production. The Angel has just arrived. Gabriel, silhouetted against the rectangle of the door, remains somehow outside Mary's domestic space. And at the same time breaking into her home, carries the breath of God into a human space. He knelt down and extended a hand towards Mary, to reassure her.
Peace be with you.
In his other hand, Gabriel holds a lily, symbol of Mary's virginity before, during and after the birth. The Virgin, distracted by the reading of a book on the lectern, twists back on itself, creating an imaginary swirling line. According to the eidetic categories, this line is perceived with meaning of change. And a definitive change it is, not only in the Virgin's life, but also in that of the whole of humanity. A precise moment is fixed, the acceptance in the Virgin's mind and heart of the divine mission. And in her womb, the acceptance of the Son of God. Rising, she turns towards the angel, her face marked by a shadow of melancholy. She knows what awaits her, and at the same time the Virgin announced is a prefiguration of the Mother of Sorrows. For an instant there was contact between eternity and time, between transcendence and immanence. Mary, the simple girl from Nazareth, was transported to a new dimension. By coming into contact with omniscience, she chose not only glory, but also the sorrow necessary to attain it. The angel looks at the Virgin. Mary looks down. Her gaze is inward, as if she were listening to herself, as if she were listening to the beating of her heart. One of his hands says,
"Wait."
The other is close to the heart. The Virgin accepts her Son, and also accepts his sorrow, illustrated in the image of Christ in Pieta in the predella. There is only an apparent discrepancy in the action. The inscription in the lower right-hand corner of the frame of the painting is the Virgin's response to the angel.
"I am the Lord's servant. May it happen to me as you have said."
Whereas in the moment Botticelli chose to depict the scene, Mary still appears distraught. She is upset but has decided, freely. The Virgin accepts her destiny without constraint, because she knows in that moment, that only by accepting the divine, can she be free and fulfilled as a person. The room where the scene takes place is rather austere. It does not look like a sacred space, but a real home. A stately home, judging by the fine materials. The floor looks like Florentine terracotta, embellished by the checkered movement of the marble strips. Behind the angel a door opens, from which a fenced garden can be glimpsed. It is a hortus conclusus, an attribute of the Virgin that refers to her blissfulness. A magnificent imaginary view follows. In the center of the landscape, Botticelli has painted a young tree. For some scholars, this would be an ash tree, the essence of the Virgin deadly to snakes, as the Virgin is to the devil. For other scholars, however, it would be an oak tree that, according to Christian symbolism, represents strength, virtue, and faith. The oak is also often depicted as the tree of life and eternity. As it carries both male and female seed, it possesses the property of procreating independently. So the oak tree could allude to the miraculous condition of the Virgin who, without having known man, carried within herself, by virtue of the Holy Spirit, the power to generate a divine Son, without any human intervention.